Summer Lincoln,
Yeah,
maybe.
Summer Lincoln
Think. Okay.
influences everything.
Number 9 on the homework.
What's the general power rule? Just another name for it?
Okay, so yeah, when it says the general power rule, it's basically the chain rule, but it's like kind of like a baby step into the chain rule. And instead of like doing that and then teaching the chain rule as something different, because it's not, I just thought let's just talk about the chain rule altogether, right?
Yep.
So number 9, find an equation of the tangent line to the graph of f at a given point. So anytime we need to find the equation of a line, of a tangent line, that means we need to use the derivative to find the slope. And then we use the slope to write an equation, okay? So the first step is to find the derivative of that function. So we have f of x equals square root of 2x squared plus 2. So we have two functions here, right? The chocolate is the square root, and the peanut is the inside.
Right.
Stupid.
Hey, we're gonna have chocolate for you today. I remember.
You don't want it.
It's one function inside of another function, right? So our f of x is going to be the square root of something, and our g of x is 2x squared plus 2. So then we could use the chain rule, and we could say, remember on our little sheet we talked about, okay, so here's f of x, here's f prime of x, here's g of x, and here's g prime of x. So f of x is something to the 1/2. So the derivative of that would be 1/2 times something to the negative 1/2.
Right.
Right? So that's the equivalent of like we eat the chocolate, but then remember we leave the peanut alone. So we put the peanut inside of this. Then g of x is 2x squared plus 2, and the derivative of that would be 4x. So then what's our actual derivative?
What half for d2x?
Derivative? Yeah, so what's our actual derivative in the end? So we found all of these things, and what's the actual derivative of the original function?
The actual derivative would be 1/2 2x squared plus 2 to the negative half times 4x.
So it's the derivative of f of x with g of x inside of it times the derivative of g of x. And you could simplify that so that
This
it.
is the easiest rule by far.
Yeah, this
Is it?
is
Yeah.
like
This
I don't
is-
have any
Seems really
trouble setting it
complicated,
up.
but it's like
No, this is cake.
It's the algebra that gets me all the
No, that's so good
The
because
only
the
thing
chain
that's
rule
easier than
sometimes
this
is like
power rule.
way harder than the product rule. It shouldn't be, but it's not.
Cake.
Okay. Do you guys want to go over the other ones together? Do you want to go over some of the
Wait,
examples
so-
in the
Don't
notes
you have
together?
to plug
We have
in?
to find
Oh,
the
yeah. Sorry, I forgot. We're looking for an equation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're looking for the equation of a tangent line. So we found the derivative,
Yeah, this is
and remember the derivative tells me the slope. So I could say m equals this, right? This is the slope of the tangent line. So I'm going to simplify this just a tiny bit so that it's like a little bit
That's
easier to
what
work
gives
with, but I'm probably not going to simplify it much. So that's probably where
Why?
I just multiplied this times that.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I can't multiply twice. I'm not great at multiplying in my head some days, and so most days. So I just thought I'll multiply it now so I don't have to multiply it later. Okay, so now we need to find the slope at the point -1, 2. So we want to find the slope when x equals -1. So we plug -1 into this, and we get -2. 2 plus 2 to the -1/2. Which we could write as this. Agreed?
right.
Because to the negative, this is 4 to the -1/2 means it's down here. So we have -2 over 2, so it's
Wait, why is it
-1.
or is it plus or minus on the bottom?
Why is it ripped though?
Because it's
Because it's a negative 1/2.
Oh, okay, never mind.
But then shouldn't it be plus or minus because you're doing square root?
There's not a variable though.
I don't think it, no, yeah, no, not in this case.
There's no variable.
I'm gonna forget to do that.
Yeah.
Do that.
Because you can't, your slope couldn't be a plus or minus value, so that's how you kind of know, like, because if I did a plus or minus here, then I'd have 2 answers, and my slope can't be 2 different answers. Like, it can't be a -1 and a +1, it has to be one or the other, so you just take the regular. That's not a great answer, I know, I'm sorry, but it's not a plus or minus there. Okay, so my slope equals -1.
Right.
And now we write the equation of a line that has a slope of -1 and goes through the point -1, 2. So that's y minus 2 equals -1 times x plus 1. And that's it. It's point slope form. Does that feel okay?
Yep.
Okay.
The next one might
Do you guys want to do any of the examples at the top? Okay, they're usually easier than the ones you've already done, so. How about you guys work and I will come around and we'll answer them individually if we need, or like as a group if we decide